Hey guys, I finally saw Civil War. Oh god, the light is too bright. Ew, how am I? I can't record this in here. Frick. That's too dark. Do I have a lamp in here? Sorry. I just jumped across my bed. Okay, there we go. That should work. I'll go over by. I'll sit over by. Okay. All right. My mom switched out the light bulbs so they were too bright. Okay, this works. I finally saw Civil War. What did I think? Well, first of all, I'd like to address my opinion on Age of Ultron. Or, I mean, like, my opinion isn't changed. I still think it's really good. Better than the first Avengers. Solid movie, but I can see why people would think it was too silly, like kind of quippy, like characters throwing back and forth little quippy lines, quips, and like not taking anything seriously because. And after watching Civil War, I mean, I get that. Okay, Civil War definitely does not do that at all. If you wanted the serious Avengers movie, you've got it. It's here. The only time when it gets quippy, and this is a time where the only time it gets quippy is during the airport scene, which I mean it's in all the trailers and stuff, or like part of it. But it only gets quippy with certain characters, only ones that like have already been established as being very like jokey joke characters, or are quickly established as that. But I'll get to that in a bit. So there's the build up to the airport scene. I mean, I feel like where the movie like writing wise really shines is not in that fight, the kind of fun part of it. And I'm separating them because there actually is like there's kind of an awkward contrast between that fight scene, which is full of fun jokes and like silly stuff, and the rest of the movie, which is rather serious because, and I mean it makes sense. It deals with like the conflict of like between friends and like bonding and all that stuff. It makes sense. But like that stuff is really well done. Like Black Panther is great. Like you understand his motivations. It's clear who he is. Like the one thing I wish is that, minor spoiler, he hadn't revealed his identity to everybody else. Like I think it would have been cooler if nobody knew who he was, but like we as the audience knew who he was because like the connection should be pretty obvious. Like I mean like if you could connect the dots. Um but or I mean like if he revealed his face to the audience that'd be one, but like I mean he like publicly reveals himself to the other characters. I'm like, probably shouldn't do that. Or I just think it would be more interesting if he didn't. Um uh like Iron Man's motivations are understandable, although at times like can be kind of forced. Like the opening scene with him. I'll fast. I'll put an annotation. And this is little spoiler. It's literally like the first 15 minutes of the movie. Probably it's in within that time frame. So I mean, basically he's on stage and he's like giving these people money to like help get rid of his guilt, and then he meets this lady backstage and he talks to her like as he's leaving, and then she like gives him something and she's like, "This is my son, Clive Scott. He was blah 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 blah, and you killed him." You killed him in Sokovia or Washington or wherever. I think it was Sokovia, the place from Age of Ultron. They really harp on that too much. That's my one complaint of the movie is they do too much of the, oh no, the Avengers killed people, which I mean like is understandable, but it's like they like focus on like one person being really angry about people dying, which they already did in Age of Ultron with Scarlet Witch. And if you still haven't seen that movie, this isn't the review for that movie. So, and that movie's like a year old now, so I think it's fair to talk about it. But they did that with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in Age of Ultron as well. Like it's already been done. And they like harped on that a lot. Like he brings it up later when he's with the other Avengers, and it's just like I couldn't care. I couldn't bring myself to care about this Clive kid or whatever, because it's just like, okay, I mean, like, it just didn't work for me. Like, the writing was not the solid. But other than, like, the movie outside of a few moments like that is all around completely solidly written in every way. Um, it and the action is great too. I mean, like Joss Whedon is a great writer, obviously, but I mean, like he's not like a like I mean like action staging. After seeing this, like the action in those movies pales in comparison. This movie they do such great stuff with like sound and like camera. They do like kind of shaky camera during the fights, but it's not like shaky camera all the time. Sorry if I just gave you nausea. It's like purposeful shakes, like when he punches, it shakes, or when somebody kicks, it shakes, or something like that. Like just like every hit, there's like a little like shake of the camera. Every hit, there's like a shake of the camera, and then like in like a sound, it does the same thing Daredevil kind of does. I mean, not but in like a different way, where it like uses lighting, where it uses like sound and visual stuff to really like hammer in the to really make you feel the punches and stuff, which is important because this movie has a lot of hand-to-hand combat because the characters are never really trying to kill each other because like despite the fact that they fight, they all like none of them want to kill each other, and you can actually well, actually, I'm not going to bring this up because it's spoilers. But they never try to kill each other, and it's actually another good way of explaining how some characters like Vision are so powerful they could have easily killed one of the characters, but like it makes it explainable that they never do because they're like none of them want to kill each other, and so oh god, I just lost my train of thought. They never want to kill each other, so it like they do a lot of like hand to hand fist punching combat rather than using their powers to like shoot each other down or whatever. So it's very important to have that kind of like it's I think it's the same people who directed Winter Soldier. So if you've seen Winter Soldier, think how surprising the combat was like in that movie. It was a lot of that same kind of stuff, like really intense, gritty action, not gritty like Daredevil where it like where you go ew with every punch, but like gritty like I don't know how to explain it, but it was all very good, and there was a definite stylistic changes between the other Avengers movies, and I know this isn't an Avengers movie, but like it has most of the cast. It's kind of an Avengers movie, and there's some stylistic changes I really enjoyed. I love Joss Whedon. I've seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, some of Firefly. Like I love Joss Whedon, but I'm glad he's moved on to other things because I like the variety and I like the new things we're seeing. I definitely didn't laugh as much with this one, but that's fine. It wasn't really a laughter movie. I mean if there had been a ton of jokes in this movie, it would have worked. Like it wouldn't have worked. Like the people who didn't like Age of Ultron for that would have hated this movie even more. Would have disliked this movie even more for the same reasons. Like you can't do that with because they really do like they. I mean, you understand both sides of the conflict. If you can't tell, I side with Captain America's side. I'm not a big fan of government like censorship and like the government control that kind of stuff. Like I believe they should be like independent, but they do a good job of making you side with Iron Man's side. And there's actually one point in the movie, again, minor spoiler. Sorry, I have trouble talking about movies like this, especially right after I've seen them without giving minor spoilers. Where there's one point in the movie where Captain America almost signs where Iron Man almost convinces Captain America to sign it. Like he picks up the pen and he's like, "Well, I could sign it, but there would have to be like requirements." And then he finds out that Iron Man's been like keeping some of the other Cap sympathizers like basically under house arrest until they like for the people's protection, and then he gets pissed off and it's undone. But at that moment I was almost convinced too. So it was very good. Like I went with Captain America and I understood why Iron Man felt the way he did, even if I felt like the whole guilt thing was a little hammered in too much at sometimes. And there was another time they did it too, and I'll go into that when I talk about the villain. The villain was weak. I can't really explain why without giving spoilers, but he was weak. I mean, here's some things he had over other Marvel villains, since, the villains is always their weak spot. I don't know what it is, but they just, like, other than Loki and Ultron, like, they can't write good movie villains. I don't know what it is. But, like, it really, I mean, even though it is kind of an Avengers movie, it still has like the focus is on it. It still is a Captain America movie, or more accurately, a Captain America and Iron Man movie, because both like it's linked thematically, like in every way, to both of those characters and their developments. Um, Let me talk Spider-Man. Spider-Man was good. Spider-Man was fun. Like he was younger. I haven't actually I haven't actually ever seen any of the like standalone Spider-Man movies previously, like all the way through, I don't think. So I don't really have much to compare it to, but he was good. I liked him. He was very funny. I don't know why I keep turning. I'm a fidgety person, so doing this I feel like I have to be moving constantly. But um he was very entertaining. He was one of the ones in the airport fight scene. Very very quippy. Very like. But I mean, it made sense. He's a teenager, and they even like kind of make fun of him for it sometimes. It's just like, well, what's wrong with that? And they don't waste time like explaining his origin or anything like that. It's just like he's there and he's in it, and yeah, it's cool. Ant-Man's the other quippy one. And I guess go see it. Like, is that even a question anymore? It's a Marvel movie. Like unless you don't like Marvel movies or something. And I mean, like, I could see it. Like, but I mean, even if you don't like Marvel movies, because a lot of times they're silly, dumb action flicks. Like this one had a lot of like legit stuff in it that wasn't just like cheap, like silly action flicks. And I mean, I feel like most of them do. So that's why I've never really like bought that complaint, because more than any other like movie universe or movie series today, I feel like it actually is very very real. Or which sounds weird about it with a movie about like crazy like people that can shrink down to tiny sizes and people that can shoot webs out of their hands, but it feels real. I mean, it's all it's the writing is consistently good. I mean, there's some movies that are just mediocre in the MCU, but I can't. There's not a single one that I can say that is a bad movie. That is an objectively bad movie, which is an impressive feat considering they have like a dozen plus movies now. So, I mean, is that even really a question? Go see it. The real question is, where do I rank it? It's not my favorite. I mean, I would say I'd watch it better than like it better than Age of Ultron, but it's almost hard to compare them. I feel like I need to give Age of Ultron a rewatch before I can properly compare the two. My favorite is still Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if I've ever said this on a review, but my favorite Marvel movie is Guardians of the Galaxy. This one is definitely in the top five. I mean, they've just been like on a home run record ever since Winter Soldier. Like Winter Soldier was fantastic. Age of Ultron was fantastic. Ant-Man was fantastic. Guardians was fantastic. This movie was fantastic. And Doctor Strange looks fantastic. If you haven't seen that trailer, go watch it. That's off topic, but and so yeah. And now I'm gonna talk spoilers, but I'm gonna try not to go in depth because I don't like making 30-minute long reviews. First I'll talk about the villain. Here's why he was weak. It was just, I mean, like, I forgot to say some things he had over the other villains in the MCU because I got distracted, like I do. So if you're still watching and you haven't already clicked off because I said spoilers, I'll call them now. What I liked about him was like they did kind of mystery element with him, similar to Winter Soldier, where you didn't know his motives and everything about him from the beginning. Like it was slowly like you didn't even really know who he was at the beginning. Like he just kind of appeared in this unconnected scene, and then it's slowly. And I liked that, and he actually did have some like threatening. He was like intimidating. Better than the businessmen villains of the Iron Man movies, who were never intimidating and never did any dirty work for themselves, really. Like, I mean, that's, I mean, yeah, and certainly, certainly more. In fact, I'd say he's one of the better MCU villains. It's just that the MCU villains are so bad that like despite not being a good character, really, he's still one of the better villains in that universe. But here's why he was weak, and here's where I'm going into spoilers. His plan. Like it honestly would have been better if he brought the super soldiers at the end to life. I mean, I can understand why he didn't, and it made sense. But it's just like the fact that his whole plan was to get them to all fight. Like, eh. I mean, like it just didn't. And there was some other inconsistency too with him. Like he broke into that. Like he had that whole elaborate plan to catch Bucky and get information out of him, and then he didn't even get information out of Bucky, and he just found the super soldiers by himself. Like what? And then the reveal of his motivation at the end, it's like, oh, come on. Like it was the same complaint I had about the lady at the beginning of the movie. It was just oh no, the Avengers accidentally killed my family. I mean, it was well written. There was nothing wrong with it. It's just overused, and it was a generic vengeance thing. I liked what he did for the development of the plot. He helped develop Black Panther a little bit, where he was like, vengeance has overtaken you, and vengeance has overtaken them, but it won't overcome me. I can't do an African voice, but whatever. But it won't overcome me, and so he like puts his claws away. I thought that was good. I thought everything around him was great. It was just him that wasn't good. And I mean, I kind of understand why they did it. Like, I understand why they didn't bring the super soldiers to life, because then it'd be like Batman v Superman, where, like, I mean, in the end, Doomsday comes to life. And I still have not seen Batman v Superman. I just don't. I mean, like, I didn't catch it in theaters. And I pretty much I know about Martha. Why did you say that name? My mother's name is Martha. Why did you say that name? No, like, I know about all that stuff. I mean, like, I basically know the entire plot because, I mean, the trailers weren't exactly very secretive about that. But, like, the Baron, like, I liked Baron. What am I saying? What am I saying? Um, but, like, then it'd be like Batman v Superman, where in the end they just team up and fight some, like, dumb common enemy. I like that in this they kept the story central to the conflict of the major characters. Like when Iron Man finds out that Bucky killed his parents, like that was a great reveal, and then it turns into like a fight again, and like and emotionally, that was the only fight where I felt like Iron Man would have killed them if he got the chance. He would have killed Bucky if he had the chance. There is no doubt in my mind that he would have done so. Uh, he might have even killed Captain America too if he could have. Like I'm not even I wouldn't be too surprised if he would have been willing to do that too. Like he was like completely enraged. I thought, and it made sense. Like I understood why he was so upset in the moment. I mean, I would be too. Cause I mean, you've seen over his movies and over the movies how like torn up he still is about his parents. You see it in the very beginning of the movie, the very like opening scene that he's in. You see that he still feels like this guilt that that he didn't like properly appreciate his parents before they died or whatever. So you understand why he's doing that. Why he was thrown into such a rage about it. Like that's just brilliant. It was just that villain that just like he was basically a plot device. Baron Zemo was a plot device. I mean like the reason I haven't said Baron Zemo this whole time is like how many people actually remember his name? Like come on. Like, he was just a plot device to keep the plot moving forward. And I mean, I guess they had to do that because they had to have some common enemy to fight it. But I feel like there's a way they could have done it that didn't have, like this stand-in villain. But I mean, at the same time, like, they didn't, like, Baron Zemo didn't die. So they could potentially bring him back, although I'm not sure there's, like, much more they could do with him. That being said, his vengeance story or like his like, oh no, my family was killed, was certainly a lot better than the lady at the beginning of the movie. Like, I loved how and they only did this in like one scene because again, they didn't have enough time to develop him, and that was the biggest issue with him, to be honest. I loved how he had his phone, and like you see that scene where he's like talking, where he's like listening to those voice messages of his wife and kids on repeat, but like the first time you see him do that, it sounds like he's talking to them on the phone. Like he like responds to what they say. I guess like in a sort of same sort of guilt way, like wishing he had been there to help them and like or like answered the phone or whatever, or like been more in touch with them or whatever. So kind of similar. Like, I never noticed the parallels to Iron Man. So like in that sense, it's actually really good. It just didn't have enough time to develop, and it didn't help that they also did that same like, oh no, you Avengers are awful because you killed my family thing way too many times in way less well written ways, to the point where it was already like stale and tired when they did it with him at the end of the movie. But like I love how you they make you think he's like talking to them on the phone, and I'm holding my phone up to my ear right now because I'm dumb. They make you think he's talking to them, and then in the end of the movie you find out they're dead. Like that struck a heartstring, but it didn't change the fact that like most of what they did, like that he was essentially just a plot device with a tacked on motivation at the end. But, and other than that, I can't really. The only other weakness I can say was the contrast between the airport fight scene and everything else was like kind of jarring, because that scene was like a fun, kind of fun, like funny. A lot of what you saw in like what you see in like Age of Ultron, although they only do it with like specific characters. And maybe they should have just made the government the villain. I don't know. I thought the government characters were almost kind of a non-end. I mean, they were like there, but like it's I, I don't know. It was just I haven't talked about them yet because there's not much to talk about. Like honestly, I mean, I guess they were like an opposing force, but like okay, whatever. Um, One thing that I did notice was like Tony Stark saying to Captain America, "You made Scarlet Witch like leave a place she didn't want to leave, a safe place." And I instantly just thought of like safe space triggered. Oh, which I mean, like I feel like that's kind of what his side is like. I mean, you could compare it to politics, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that in a movie review, especially since the movie didn't really ever try to compare it to politics. So why should I? But you could if you wanted to. And my like political opinions, like I'm not going to talk about them on here, but they do lean towards they do lean towards what Captain America was supporting in the movie, and for that reason, I definitely support his viewpoint, and it's also pretty clear that like his viewpoint was set up to be the right one in the movie, and same for the comic books from what I've heard. Although I've actually heard the comic books do a lot worse job at justifying Iron Man's side, whereas this movie I felt like did a really good job of it outside of a couple scenes. The only scene that I really did not like in the movie was honestly the one where he talks to that woman by the elevator and she's like, "You killed my son!" Ah! I didn't I that scene was like, "Oh, come on." Like I was literally in my seat going like this, like, "Oh, come on." Except for not out loud because I was in a movie. Alright, that's all. Oh, they give it that cheap.